Ready?
Ready.
How to recover from an icy spinout. Welcome to episode 36 of Throwing Your Parents Under the Bus. Now, you may be wondering why we're focusing on this topic in March. But for Northerners, the idea of a surprise blizzard with icy roads are known to happen. I'm Jane Ubel, and with me today is veteran crash investigator and driver safety expert Mike Pehl. How are you, Mike?
I am awesome. Glad to be here.
Great. All right. And of course, we have the keeper of our enrichments and creator of our social media posts, Natasha Johnson. How you doing today?
Oh, doing good.
All right. Well, Natasha, let's start off today's podcast by listening to one of our students' observations after talking with their parents about their driving experiences.
Yeah, thanks, Jane. Today's enrichment activity is from Nora in Fisher, Minnesota. She says, "What was most important? One thing that I noticed was really important from what my mom told me was that you should always be alert when you are driving. I also noticed that it is very important to drive at appropriate speeds according to the weather around you." Then Nora goes on to share one of her mom's scary driving experiences. "One day, my mom was driving home from Bemidji. The visibility was good, but the roads were icy. While my mom was driving, her car suddenly started spinning in circles on the icy roads. Slowly, her car slowed down as she was spinning, and she ended in the ditch."
You know, I want to just quickly say that happened to me once on 494 coming home during the hockey tournaments in Minnesota, and I spun 180 going backwards, and I was very grateful it was late at night because it was a freeway and I had no, there were no cars around me, but it could have been really deadly.
It's crazy how fast it happens, too.
Yep.
Okay, so anyway, let's talk about this. And just so everybody knows that it's not just ice and snow and blowing snow, that when blowing snow goes across the road and you have a salted area, the snow melts there. But once the salt goes away, it's going to turn back to ice. So we just got to know our conditions. Also, wet leaves, okay? Wet leaves are very, very slippery also. Are the wet leaves a sheet of ice? No, but it is enough to lose control of a car. So we just got to remember a couple simple tips when your car goes into a skid, whether it's hydroplaning on a pouring rain, ice, snow, slush is worse. The worst thing you can get your car into is slush. That is more slipperier than ice because of the fact it's heavy and it throws you. Ice, you should be able to start feeling the car starting to move. Slush grabs the car and throws the car instantly. Okay, so when your car goes into a skid, first of all, I talk about this in our lessons, and I believe we even have a video on it, that when it's icy out, when you are leaving your driveway and you are on a residential road or go into a parking lot, get your car up to 10 miles an hour and slam on the brakes. Make sure no one's behind you. You need to see what your car is going to do. That'll instantly tell you how slow am I going to come up to that stop sign, because I need to come up slower. All right. Do I really want to get my speed up to 50, 55, and 60? Because once you hit the ice at that point, you better be really good to pull that car out of its spin. All right. Second thing is, we have cars with anti-lock brakes. We have cars with skid control. So we have all these features in maybe mom's car. Okay, so the problem is mom's car might be a brand new one with all the features of anti-lock brakes, anti-skid control. Man, some of these new cars, you cannot spin them out on ice. It is virtually like 99.9% impossible to spin them out. All right. But again, that icy road or parking lot can really tell you what the car is. The problem is, though, is all of a sudden we got the young daughter or son, we put him in a pickup, which has rear wheel drive, or an older car, 2012, 2010, and it has none of those features. and they've learned with their permit on mom's car. Naughty, 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 because now they're relying on the car to do the work and nothing in the mind. All right. So a simple little thing here. Your car will always go to where you look. If we target where we want to go, the car will go there. If you slam your brakes on in a skid, you have already lost it. You will go all the way. But once I feel it and I let up on my gas without hitting my brake and stare to the middle of the road, remember, steering wheel to the middle, I stare to the middle of the road, my mind will take my steering wheel where I'm staring. Okay, so you might do this, and it'll start getting slower and it'll come out. Okay, so if everybody just remembers that, the problem that people have is they panic. They hit the brakes and they look where they don't want to go. The ditch, the telephone pole, the car beside me. Okay, and now it's a panic situation, and now the car is going like this, and it hits a dry spot, and that's where the rolls come in. So, like I say, and if that does happen, I do want to tell all you people out there and kids, not that kids aren't people, but all you out there, it kind of sounded weird, but just remember this. If that is happening, you are going too fast for conditions. I'm sorry, I have never spun a car out ever. Matter of fact, when these new cars and these things come out, I take a car out on the lake. Don't do this because you don't know what lake you're going on. But I go out and I actually try and lose control of this. Why? Because I'm a driving instructor and I want you, my student, to have the best training you can get. And if I don't know how the car is going to handle, then we're both in trouble. And, that's why that parking lot in a snow-packed area can teach you so much. Put a cone in the middle, go try and turn around it fast at 10 miles an hour, hit the brakes, see what happens. You will learn so much more. All the more, we do need to we used to, way in the old days, we had skid car. We had a skid car we could put people in and teach them all this stuff, but it gets really expensive to do that stuff. So there you go.
So parking lots work. I'm going to ask you a question just quick. When I was doing the spin out, it happened right after I went under a bridge. And I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So the first thing that freezes up is your overpasses, because there's no ground underneath to keep it hot. Okay. And then your underpasses. And the reason for that is because in the daytime, there's no light that can get the bridge actually shades underneath. And salt needs sun at a certain temperature to melt ice. Okay. So salt is only, when they salt these roads, the chemical they put on before they come out and start salting is a kind of like a pre salt solution to keep that ice from starting to bond to the road, and then they come with the thing. But when you start getting, a lot of these states had temperatures of 20 below, 30 below, salt doesn't work in them cold temps. Okay, so that's where the sand comes in. Once again, we can't get sucked in to this person that you're going down the road and this person comes zooming by you, and they're usually a truck or an all-wheel drive car, and guess what you see 5 miles up the road? That person in the ditch. Okay, so it's discipline, guys. It's discipline. You can see icy roads. You can see black ice. Everybody goes, I hit black ice. Well, guess what? When the road changes from a dull road to a shiny, it's black ice. All right, it's not like ice on a pond. So, and your exhaust is what melts that. All of a sudden, there's not a whole bunch of cars shooting down 140, 50, 60 degree water that comes out of your car, and then it freezes. And that's where that's all is. So yeah, underpasses, overpasses, bridges, always beware. And remember, we don't slow down when we get to the bridge. because now you've already entered the danger. Okay, we need to see the bridge coming up, going, okay, guess what Mike says? You guys have heard that a lot, right?
Yes.
Mike says, okay, bridge coming up, maybe slow her down 10 miles an hour, not with your brake, let your gas pedal do the work. So let up before you get there. All good.
All right. Well, great. Thank you for answering that, Mike. And of course, preparing people for any March Madness that's coming up in
It'll be
the
there.
future.
It'll be
That's
there.
right. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We truly appreciate you and hope you can share our podcast with your friends and family. Please check out our other episodes by going to drivesaferidesafe.com/podcast, or you can go to youtube.com/drivesaferidesafe, the number, not the word, and that's our channel. This houses our podcasts, as well as more than 100 short reels with driving tips on almost any topic. Also, please give us a shout out by emailing us with your questions or maybe your driving stories to drivesaferidesafe@gmail.com. This has been episode 36 of Throwing Your Parents Under the Bus. And of course, I'm Jane Ubel, and we want to remind you to
Drive safe.
Ride safe.
.com.